Dude, if you haven't been to NECA yet, what are you doing with your life? Basically, NECA is like Nerd Fest for electricians. It's all the stuff that we use every day smashed into a big room. So the first thing that I saw was the spider sign, and these guys are a new brand, so I had to go figure out what they were doing.
So this is our German-made patented recip blade. We refer to it as a 3x3 because it has 3 cutting planes on it: the front, the bottom, and the top. So we have the patent on it. So our recip saw was invented in 1951, and by Milwaukee, and nobody thought to patent the top side of a recip blade. So we have the patent on it, and we've had this out now for several years. And what's unique about it is we have 8% more cobalt in the bimetalling of this on the 3 sides. Also, you'll notice that in a traditional recip blade, which is a single lineal edge, they're all manufactured the same way, that whether it be ours or anyone else's. They have a cut here and they weld on the nose. So, and then they do the bimetalling, and as we were talking earlier, that weld point is the weakest part in the structure that's there. Where we don't have this in our German blade. Our German blades, or no one else has had this either, because these are stamped. It's a single stamped piece of metal and it's bimetaled. So no structure where it's going to break is going to be in the smallest point in the structure, which is where it mounts. And that's going to have a bind point there as well. But what's cool is you'll notice here see it on this side better. This is cutting on the pull, right? If you notice how it varies on top, it's the exact opposite. It's literally cutting on the push and cleaning on the pull. So if you've never used a recip saw blade and you want to take it and invert it, and the power tool companies fixed this years ago where you could take a blade and invert it. You have literally more stability cutting in an upcut capacity. So as we all know, not everything is easy and laying out equal. Some of these contractors, plumbers, electricians are climbing under houses and crawl small spaces, and they're having to cut above them or whatever the case might be. This is what gives this blade an advantage over others.
All right. Well, dude, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Next, I had to check out what Team Red was up to, of course.
All right, so this is our 4th generation 1/2-inch hammer drill. A couple of the key features that I want to call out. First is what we like to call auto stop. Typically you'll see this in our threaders and our grinders. Auto stop is an anti-binding mechanism built into the tool. Think of it as a smarter tool. So any kind of bind, typically there's 2 pain points that we hear a lot. One, if a competitor has this, it's too sensitive, so it shuts off very easily. The second feature would be typically there's too much swing. So by then your wrist is already injured. So auto stop will address both pain points. The next thing I want to call attention to is our 1/4-inch impact. So on the fastening side, you're still going to get 1,400 inch-pounds on the hammer drill, 2,000 inch-pounds on the impact. On the impact as well, one of the biggest pain points that we have is our better lighting. So typically with this, on the previous model, the orientation, you kind of had to tilt it up. With this model, you're going to have a better illuminated space, so there's no shadows for your workspace. Last but not least, anything that's fuel is going to be RedLink Plus intelligence. So think of that as a smarter tool. Inside the housing here, we have a microchip. That microchip is going to better communicate between the hammer drill and the battery. It's going to give you the right amount of draw, doing exactly the application that you need to do without eating too much of that battery.
Okay, so it kind of, for whatever the load is.
Sure.
You don't ever have any issues with it miscalculating, like not being able to fulfill a load, right? Okay.
Correct.
There we go.
After that, I was stopped like 37 times by all of you people. Which honestly is my favorite part of all of this. Really, I love being stopped and people like, hey, can I shake your hand? Can I take a selfie? I love that, dude, and I love people like coming up and telling me their story. So please, if you ever see me at an event, come up to me and say something. But I was also stopped by a whole bunch of brands, and it's a lot of these newer brands that are like fresh, you know, in the beginning stages of their startup. And one of them that I thought was really cool was a brand called Simply Count.
What do we got going on here? I see a bunch of colors on plans.
All right, so this is Simply Count. We make counting symbols on blueprints easy. The software is a visual search engine. So a lot like Control F, where you can type in text and find it on a PDF, you can't do that with symbols. So what the user does is they draw a box around a symbol that they'd like to search more of. So for instance, we'll search for this OS symbol. You simply just draw a box around the symbol, press search, and now the software algorithms will go through the rest of the page and locate all of the instances, and then we'll load the results on the table automatically, and they'll be able to delete anything that they would like to exclude from the count. Okay. And then there's not a shadow of a doubt about the quantities and their numbers and what symbols that they go to.
So does it actually highlight every instance of that on the plan once you do it?
Yes. So
oh, that's dope.
You can literally even see all of the symbols, and you can see all the pages, all the symbols that you've counted on the page. Okay. And so there's not a shadow of a doubt about what the name is, where the count is, and what color it is. And so this is really helpful for newer electricians who are entering industry, trying to understand how to read blueprints. Because we've got a lot of experience who's leaving, and so the new count is using Simply Count as a way to wrap their head around what's being looked at on blueprints.
Well, yeah, and the assistive software. I mean, this younger generations are all about software and making things fast.
Yeah.
And when I came up, it was like, all right, here's a plan. I want you to count every switch on there and like take a highlighter and write down a list of every single piece of material. So just for a business, for estimating, this is going to make everything so much quicker. So if I have like a 4-gang and it's kind of muddy and sometimes the numbers blend in, can it recognize that still?
Yeah, it can. And so the beautiful thing about Simply Count is all the searches are recallable. And so when you have a switch, when you have a search, like a switch, where it's just naturally just a really challenging symbol to find. For instance, you've got doubles, then you've got 4, and then you've got 2. You could actually go through and manually, automatically, and also manually go through and edit the information. So there's not you can add additional context. And so say you're a new estimator who they said, hey, go take off this project. You can connect with a senior estimator and they can go through this list with you, and you can note down any context for specific symbols.
So it's like adding meta information to a blueprint.
Yes.
That's insane.
Yes. As well as it does an automated general reporting feature. So when you get done with the project, you can export the PDF directly with all the markups on there, full scale, and so they can actually use this and not have to use the highlighters. They can actually go back and edit the blueprints at any time.
So can they click on any one of these and anything that's annotated by anybody pops up? Okay, that's cool as hell.
Yeah, as well as it also does a custom reporting where they can hand this off to their boss. It makes them look good. They can actually have a project summary for the project. So when they hand it over to their boss knows exactly what is actually entailed in the project, and so there's no guessing.
Yeah, it's the whole takeoff right here. That is genius, man. That's really cool.
So I am all about smart tech and new ways of doing things. If it saves us time and saves us money, all about it. Next, I spotted the Fluke booth, which got me really excited. I'm a huge Fluke user. I've got tons of Fluke meters I've been using my entire life. So I had to stop by their booth and see what they were doing.
Sean, nice to meet you. I'm Dustin. So I'm an electrician. I'm very familiar with Fluke stuff. I've been using Fluke my whole career. But what do you guys have this year that you guys are really proud of?
Oh yeah, so a couple of things on our showstopper account. We just launched the 1777. This is a 3-phase power quality meter.
Awesome.
Touch screen, color screen. This thing will do logging, recording, transients, you name it, man. It's a full-fledged power quality meter.
Awesome.
It's definitely in our showstopper. So this is really going to help those seasoned electricians troubleshooting dirty voltage. We know that renewable energy is really taking off between solar, EV charging, electric vehicles. I think our government issued a $5 billion infrastructure bill. So this is huge. So Fluke just launched our SMFT 1000. Now this is really going to help those solar technicians out in the field. This is a IV curve tracer, but it's a multi-function tester, so it's allowing them to do ground checks, polarity on the panel. They can do a lot of functions, your short circuit current voltage, over voltage, IV curve is obviously the key one, to identify that the panel is actually working correctly. Now with this, they need an irradiance meter because it's all about the sun. We're generating electricity, we're generating voltage. This will Bluetooth in and link into our SMFT. We can get a full analysis. This will hold 10 different manufacturers of panels, and all you have to do is put it in. It'll automatically give you the curve of what you need. So it's a really great resource that's going to help out the technician out in the field. Yeah, so
that is really
key
cool.
win on that one. And then also too, we launched this last year. Now this is not part of our showstopper. This is actually going to be our showstopper.
Oh, it's 1500 volt rated?
1500 volt Cat 3 rated meter.
That's high for
So
Cat
yeah,
3.
not only does it do your voltage AC and DC, it does DC power. It has visual continuity and visual polarity.
Visual continuity?
So what happens is because these loud environments, we may not be able to hear the audible
Always.
buzzer.
Yeah.
This lights will display on the screen that tells you have continuity.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a great tool.
Does it still vibrate too? Is it
No,
like,
no, those are the like the old Wiggies.
Yeah, I liked it though.
Yeah, and then finally on this, with electric vehicle charging stations running out, we need to make sure that the installation of the charging station was done correctly. This is all part of standards and IEC standards. So this allows us to interface with the charging station. It pretends to be the vehicle because we have to have that handshake to make the charging station actually work correctly. Now we can use a DMM or a scope meter, hook up and make sure that we have correct voltage, either
That's
single
amazing.
phase or three phase, and we can check the control pilot. So the control pilot signal, is it actually charging out correctly?
Okay.
There's so many charging stations out on the
Yeah.
market, and each one's going to send out so much amperage. This will allow you to determine that based on your duty cycle and everything. So key win. This is pretty much the standard, the 1772 J plug. But yeah, key win on that. So definitely here at NECA, our showstopper is going to be the SMFT 1000 and that cool 1777 power quality meter.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, man. I
Dustin,
appreciate
it's
it.
nice talking to you.
Love Fluke stuff.
Yeah.
Now, something else caught my eye each time that I passed it. There was this company called Penn Aluminum, and they just had EMT, and I'm like, well, what's so awesome about EMT? Like, EMT is EMT. Well, they have aluminum EMT and aluminum rigid.
Hey, yeah, good to see you, Dustin.
What do you
I'm a
guys
fan.
have going on here? What is all of this?
Penn Aluminum's been an extruder for a long time, but we decided to get into the aluminum conduit business about a year ago.
Okay.
It's gone very well for us. The benefits of aluminum make it the smart choice, and appreciate you stopping by to see what we're doing.
Yeah, so you guys, like, aluminum is your thing?
Yeah,
All
we're an
kinds of
aluminum
aluminum stuff.
extruder in Southern Illinois, serving much of the country right now, and hoping to expand soon even more. You're used to your galvanized steel.
Oh, yeah. EMT.
Yeah, the EMT. Aluminum's 1/3 the weight of steel, so it's a much safer product,
Holy crap.
less expensive.
Wow.
So it's a good comparison
It's like
to
half
understand.
the-
You feel a lot better at the end of the day after
Yeah.
working with aluminum all day.
I bet that bends so much easier, too.
Yeah, it's bending great. We put a lot of work into that. It's critical that it bends well as the wire pooling, and we've developed Blue Lightning, which is a product we have in the showstopper area, if you've been over there, which is a Teflon-like material that we put on the inside based on customer requests. Some people don't need it, some people prefer it. So it's available on the market right now, and we're happy to share it with different contractors around the country for their jobs.
Yeah, it's like a blue haze sort of a thing. So
And that's where we came up with the Blue Lightning.
yeah,
Helps
and
with that
so
wire
that's just
pooling. So
supposed to make it less drag on the pull.
That's right.
So what is it inherently about aluminum that makes it more difficult to pull through? Like typically.
Well, galvanized EMT already has a coating in the manufacturing process
Like an
for
oil?
wire pooling.
Okay.
Yeah. It's part of the standard process. Aluminum does not. It's an extruded product. It's very smooth on the inside. And the fact that it is a little softer metal, it can drag on your pulling devices.
I'm curious with that Blue Lightning, is it a drastic difference to pull wire through?
Oh yeah,
Is it really?
Considerably a much better deal? Yeah, and we've provided it to some very large projects, hospitals. You know, we've sold millions of feet of it in the first year.
Wow.
We've sold millions of standard EMT as well. So it's all the preference of the customer, really. on what they like to work with.
Is the Blue Lightning the combination of the coating and the kind of rifling inside of it?
There's not really any rifling in it.
Well, it's like a weird kind of spiral thing that I noticed when I looked.
That might have just been
it's
from
not
the spraying
rifling
process.
Oh, okay.
No rifling, yeah. So it's
Right.
smooth extruded, and we just
It's just
apply
a
it
coating.
on the inside, the coating,
Okay.
yeah.
Interesting.
So it's like I said, it's a Teflon type of material. It's not Teflon, but it's like that. Provides that lubricity for the wire pooling operation. So it's worked out very well, and a number of big contractors that we provided it to on hospital jobs and others have really appreciated the savings that it provides in the effort for the wire pooling device. And it's besides aluminum is relatively inexpensive compared to galvanized steel EMT. It's really, a lot of these contractors have been focused on the safety factor of the weight, which really means a lot to them.
That's a huge
Job
difference.
site safety is huge, and we recognize that. So there are plenty of other benefits, as you know, with aluminum. I'm sure you've used it before, but this is a new product. We really put a lot of effort into it as far as obviously the wire pooling, but also the bending, which is critical. So,
well, even just having like loading a whole bunch of this conduit onto a trailer job site, seeing a forklift pick pallets of aluminum off and just dump it like it's nothing, and the weight going down the road is so much difference for the steel.
That's right. And I mean, I guess the standard NHTSA safety standard is about 51 pounds. A lot of contractors use 50 pounds as a maximum carry weight.
Yeah.
You can carry a lot of aluminum.
Yeah. You
compared to
and we're
steel.
always trying to carry like way too much, right? How many bundles can I get? Yeah, I want to actually work with it and see just how drastically different my day is working with nothing but aluminum versus
whether it's a hand bender or a machine bender, you're good to go either way. But you should give it a try, Dustin. Thank you.
I will. Thanks for your time.
And then after that, I was walking by the Southwire booth, and these huge barrels, these big drums caught my eye, so I had to see what that was all about.
All right, Aaron. So what does Southwire have? What's the newest, latest, greatest this year?
All right, Dustin. So what I'm going to show you today is our barrels and our coil packs. And when it comes to the barrels are definitely going to increase the productivity, efficiency, and safety on the job site, right? Because really what we're doing is we're taking you away from those individual spools of 2500, which are pain. They're a pain to use, right? You drop them, they crack, they overspool. There's back weight that you got to fight, the setup time and all that. So the nice thing about the barrels, when you go to pull in your home runs, THHN, everything is in a barrel. You've got your dedicated neutral, right, to go with your phase wire, and everything also has the simple technology on it as well. That simple coat that goes on the THHN, it reduces the amount of resistance as you're pulling through your conduits, okay? So the nice thing about the barrels, when everything's set up, right, now again, you're not dealing with individual spools of 2500. You set the barrel up and you start to pull, okay, you see that? Now, as I'm pulling, you can tell I'm only pulling the weight of the wire itself, right? So there's no back weight that I'm having to fight as you're coming off your individual spools at 2500. So you're reducing the amount of material management in terms of taking those spools from point A to point B on the job site, those individual spools, and now you only have one barrel that you're working with. Now when you pull from a barrel though, you're gonna wanna have a tap, right? Whether it's built into the cart or an individual tap, which I'll show you in a minute. The nice thing about the cart, it allows you to get the barrel from point A to point B on the job site. You've got your dual axle, 4 rubber tires on the back side of the cart, right? But once you get it set up, you're only dealing with one barrel. So what we're doing at Southwire is we're reducing the amount of material that you're having to work with, right? Again, if you're taking it back to weight and capacity and trying to plan for that, you're looking at about 700 pounds, but per wire, you're at 5,000 feet per wire. That's 35,000 feet. That means you're reducing your spools from dealing with 14 individual spools at 2,500 down to one barrel.
The next thing I saw at the Southwire booth that I thought was really cool is their coil packs.
Barrels, you got a little bit more restrictions, a little more planning as far as like what your conduits are going to take and your panels, how your panels are wired up. With coil packs, more flexibility here, right? They don't weigh as much, obviously, right? But again, this is an alternative means and methods of installing wire when you're comparing to your traditional spools, which are bulky, right? So we'll offer coil packs in number 10s, 12s, solid or stranded. Again, 10s, 12s, solid or stranded is what we stock. It's the same premise though with coil packs. You're pulling, and you're only pulling the weight of the wire itself, right? So there's no back weight that you're having to fight. So I'm kind of going slowly here, but you could see that. Now typically, with a setup like this where you're pulling multiple spools, you'd have a guy, right, sitting there that's babysitting these things to make sure they're not over spooling,
right,
as you're doing your
constantly
pull.
getting tangled. Yeah,
constantly getting tangled. Yeah, so the way we've designed the coil packs is to allow the user really to bypass the hassle of having to deal with an overspooled spool, right? So with the coil packs, they feed from the inside out, right? And it again only has that, it's got that simple wire, so it's feeding from the inside of the pack to the outside of the pack as it's rotating, okay? That's number one. Number two is, with the coil pack, they all weigh 50 pounds or less, right? So if you're comparing this to a 2,500 foot spool, 2,500 foot spool of number 12s weighs about 90 pounds, right? Coil pack weighs 50. I can carry it on my side. I can carry two, so you're gonna get about 2,000 feet of wire for a single circuit, 2,000 feet. So I can easily carry 2,000 feet here and 2,000 feet here, compared to only carrying 2,500 foot spool, right? Which weighs 90 pounds. They're awkward. You know, like I said, I mean, you're not necessarily getting rid of the person, but you're making it easier for them, and it's just increasing the efficiency in all aspects on the job, right? Yeah. So there's also some accessories that we offer with coil packs and barrels. That's like the home run grip it. So yeah, these are the south wire grippets, right? Guys love these because typically when you're making up a head, you've got multiple circuits that you're having to strip back and you're having to make your head up, right? But you're just staggering in your circuits, 10s or 12s.
Oh, what?
Yeah, and you're just folding them back just like that. And I've had some guys that'll still tape it up toward the back, but you hook up your pull line, right? No tape, and you pull. Get out of here. Yeah, and just send it through, and I'm telling you, this thing is a ticket because it's saving you so much time as far as making up your head. Nice thing about
it off at the end too once you get it all the way through.
It's little things like this that save you so much time.
That is the coolest thing.
Yeah.
How did I not know that this existed? All right, that's pretty much it. Next year it's going to be in Philly, so make sure if you have any interest in going to NECA that you come out, shake my hand, come meet me, come look at all the crazy tools and stuff that's being developed in your industry. Thank you for your attention. I love you crazy people, and I'll see you in the next one.